Amen. So I'm hoping you've all got your sheet for prayer meeting. Perhaps not everyone has. Brother Philip probably won't have. This is early writings. It's the Advent Movement illustrated. I don't know if there may be copies in the cupboard. We've been doing it for 2 or 3 weeks. It's he can look at it from his phone. It should be okay. Oh, we've got one. We're fine. So, just want to have a quick review. Remember, this is the Advent Movement illustrated. It's the third time Ellen White's going through the Millerite history. Pretty sure it's the third time. She went through William Miller, first angel's message, second angel's message, that's twice. The Advent Movement illustrated, then another illustration. And how did we start this chapter? What are some things that we've learned? Let's start with that. What things have we learned that maybe are new, that we may not have noticed before? Brother Bob?
That the darkness that we see is not just one point up to a point and then it's banished. The darkness is continuing all the way through.
Okay.
And yet some people are brought out of that darkness by the light.
So I really like that point, that this chapter doesn't teach your standard reform line to say that there's darkness and I'll just put light. It doesn't teach it that way. That's how we normally teach a reform line. This shows you that the darkness, I don't want to put a start point, the darkness runs all the way through this history. If this was the end, all of this is a period of darkness. It's darkness all the way through, and it's just as true as this model here, but it gives a different perspective of it. So I really like that from this chapter, and if you see that, it teaches you so many things that may not make sense. Why there's rejection, why there's hostility, why there are even perhaps problems in our movement. But what changes from this point to this point? And just to direct us to what we're talking about, this is first paragraph, 240.1. The last sentence is in bold. I heard the voice of an angel cry, "Fear God, give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come." So this is the arrival of the first angel's message, or what we would call the time of the end. And what begins to happen from that moment onward? What have we learned with respect to this darkness? Brother Bob just mentioned it. Just want to just reiterate what he said. What begins to happen, Sister Sue Ellen, from the time of the end onward, in relationship to the darkness? Because there's lots of things that are in this chapter. There's light. Mm-hmm. So there's this light that begins to do what? Penetrate. It's this light that begins to penetrate the darkness. So even though I've got the line here, I'm going to take that line out and I'm going to say there's darkness here, and this light begins to penetrate the darkness. And that's what this reform line is teaching us. There's many details, but fundamentally it's saying that there's this light that penetrates the darkness, and this light grows in punctuated phases. So we learned that. What other interesting things did we learn? So we've learned that there's darkness all the way through, but it's from this point that the light begins to penetrate the darkness in an increasing fashion. What else have we learned that you don't normally see in the reform line? Sister Kathy.
That in the darkness there were people who were getting light.
Okay, so we learn before the time of the end, there are people, and this is all in paragraph 1, that there are companies. So I'll do it from, I guess, the figure of shocks of wheat. So here's a company, and here's another company, and it says that there are people, so I'll just do like this, there are people who have got light. It doesn't say where this light's coming from, it's just that they have light here in this history. So that was an interesting thing. It's not all pure darkness, that there's light. What else have we learned when it comes to this issue of light? These people that have this light. Oh no, before we do that, what else did we learn about this? So now that we're here, I added a bit more. Sister Kathy just said there were people who had light. I've shown them bound together in these varying groups. What else did we learn about that history before the time of the end?
Well, it said that beams of light came from Jesus to touch some people that were in light, and that there were evil angels surrounding those who were in darkness. So some people had light, some people...
Can you just speak a little bit louder?
Some people had light and some people didn't have light.
Okay, so before this light begins to penetrate, we're in this history here. What else do we know about that history? Just one more piece of information. Mr. Brittany?
I'm not sure.
It's in the first sentence.
Companies are bound.
So all the companies, I've got 3 companies here. I'll call it C1, C2, C3. The companies are bound together. So I want us to see that all the companies are bound together. So at one level, they're independent of each other because they're companies, but they're all connected together because they're all bound. So when we first read this, people say, oh, so this is a binding off, maybe things are out of sequence or something, and then they're not. They're all bound together here. And they're in these different companies, and each company has people scattered through that have got this light. And what did we say that the varying companies represent? Don't know if we remember that. What are the companies?
Churches.
The churches. We want to give it a different name instead of churches. What we denominations, if we can do with that. So we've got companies, and I'm going to call them denominations. So this would be Baptists, Lutherans, Presbyterians, different denominations. So if you've got different denominations, they have nothing in common, do they? They all have their own different views, but it says that they're all bound together. So they've got a common bond of unity. And Brother Larry, you said, what was that? What did you say about them? That you said no. You said something. And I said maybe I misheard. I didn't hear you quite. I thought you heard Babylon. I heard about who said that? Oh, it was Brother Daniel. I heard Babylon from the back. So they're sort of tied together with these common purpose, common idea. So we could say Babylon. So they're tied together into a unit that we might call Babylon. Not saying they're all Babylon, but they're tied together in this unit that we could say they're held captive by Babylon, or they're being bound together. So they, at some level, they all have this common perspective, common view, because they're all in it together, if you like. Okay, so now we come to the place where Sister Ellen was saying, so in the first paragraph, beams of light from Jesus begin to come. So here are these beams of light that are coming. And we said that there's light, then what? What comes after the light?
The sound. Fear gone.
Last sentence.
The voice.
Voice. So it's the sound, it's the voice. And I'm suggesting they're happening at the same time, but it sequences light, then voice. What is interesting that we learned? Because remember, we're not reading all the things, all the verses. What did we find interesting?
In the second angel's message, you had voice and then light.
We'll get there in a moment. We're going to do that. But just here, in this history, this light penetrating the darkness. What did we learn about that? Can you remember?
Angels watching. It was for everyone.
Sorry?
It was for everyone.
Was it?
Glorious light
Was it for everyone?
to enlighten all who would receive it.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm in the first sentence, second paragraph.
You're in the second paragraph. I'm still in the first one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just those who had the light.
Just those who had the light. So I'm going to sort of redraw that picture, and I'm just going to draw them like this. They're not separated. Everyone's still there. They're all bound together. There's no change. We've got this picture here, but I'm just highlighting them because the light is only going to be hitting these people who had light before. So, you know, often we talk about someone being raised up here. You know, that they were in darkness. There was nothing special about them, and suddenly this light comes to them. Angels come to the mind of William Miller. But what is this passage teaching us?
God selects. Kind of God selects the servant.
God selects his servants.
This verse,
Brother Graham?
He's only giving light to those who already have.
So he's got people here already, which you might not notice because they're just mingled with all the darkness, but it's only these people before the time of the end that are going to receive this angel's message. So if you were in darkness here, can you receive the first angel's message? You can't even receive the first angel's message. It's not even for you.
I was thinking about that verse in Matthew where Jesus says, to those who have more will be given to them, and to those who have not, everything will be taken from them.
Yes.
So it's the same principle.
So the first angel's message that it come down is only given to a select group of people.
So then, at the time of the end, or before the time of the end, we have people are in darkness that are in Babylon, and they come out with more light.
It's the light that's going to bring you out. Okay, so now we're into paragraph 2. Now what do we see? We're kind of shuffled on a little bit now.
I just wanted to say that it says here
Can you speak just a little bit louder?
the light came to those whose eyes were raised to heaven.
Are you in paragraph 1 or paragraph 2?
Paragraph 1.
Yes.
So they were, looking to heaven. They were open to the light.
Yes. And it's all based upon our experience here. It's not, God is not partial. There's no partiality. It's those who have this light, they're the ones that are going to have it. And so we've moved on a little bit now. And Sister Kathy, what's happening now?
A glorious light came.
What's it doing?
It's enlightening all who would receive it, and then
No, it's not quite doing that.
the glorious light rested down upon the companies.
So now what's happening? The same light
Same light,
is coming on whom?
the companies,
Which is
everybody.
everybody. So first it's only a few, and now everybody has access to this light. The light comes on everyone now. So those people who didn't have an opportunity before, now they have an opportunity. But only some receive it, some accept it, and some don't. So we know that the ones who are in light before, they're fine. Some of these people in darkness, now they're going to accept. So say the numbers double. It went from 3 to 6. All the other people rejected. So we pick all of this in the second paragraph. And then what happens? What's the next major step?
Have we covered
This
the
is-
resisting?
Sorry?
Have we covered the resisting of the light?
Yep, only it shines upon everyone, but not everyone accepts it. So I've doubled the number from 3 to 6. Everyone else is still in darkness. They rejected the light. Then what happens? Brother Bob?
They break the cords.
No, not yet.
No?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Those that received it were joyfully, joyfully cherished it.
So they're cherishing it. There's lots of details. I just want to pick up the major points. Sister Sue Ellen?
The ones in darkness were thrusting themselves against the ones with...
Not quite yet. That will happen in a moment.
They joined their voice with the angel.
Okay, so we're halfway into the verse, into the paragraph, sorry. If you look on your paper, it's in bold here. You'll see where I am, somewhere in the bold. And just above that, it says they've... and their voices were heard in harmony with the voice of the angel. So now what happens, this angel is still speaking all the way through. The light is the voice. The light is the voice. First these people accept it, then more people accept it, and now what happens? So I'll just do one person who's a symbol of all of these, so I'll do it bigger. So this is a corporate person. So now you've got the person plus whom? Plus the angel, and the lights continue to come down, remember? So here's this light, and now there, what word does it use? Harmony. So now there's harmony. So now the people are saying the same thing as the angel. Fear God, give him glory, for the hour of his judgment is come. And what do we call that? Sorry?
Empowerment.
So we call this the empowerment. So we got to 1E. And now what happens? Someone said before, and I said it happens in a moment. Who said what's going to happen next?
The ones in darkness thrust.
Now there's thrusting going on. So there's this thrusting going on. And then after the thrusting, as they're doing this thrusting, then what happens? Who breaks the cords? Those who cherish light, they break the cords, they separate. Okay, so now there's a separation. There was thrusting, separation, and then what happens? We're down here in the bold part of this paragraph. Sorry?
The leadership.
The leadership starts doing its thing, and what are the leadership going to start doing?
Be exactly, the temple of the Lord.
Sorry?
The temple of the Lord.
The temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord. Brother Larry?
And they're going to give you pleasing words, wrathful looks, and threatening gestures.
So with pleasing looks,
No, pleasing words.
oh sorry, pleasing words,
Wrathful looks,
wrathful looks,
threatening gestures.
and threatening gestures. They're going to do all of these for what? What are they doing all of this for?
To keep those people.
Sister Brittany?
To tighten the cords back up.
To tighten the cords back. And these people it says in the last part of the paragraph, these are the leading men, these are the ministers. So they're going to begin to refasten the cords because they don't want anybody escaping. And they say, God is with us, we stand in the light, we have the truth. So when they say we stand in the light, what are they saying?
A lie. Temple of the Lord.
A lie, yes. Brother Daniel?
Temple of the Lord.
The temple of the Lord. With what does that mean, even temple of the Lord? I don't know, what does that mean?
Like you say, I am God's people, I am son of Abraham, I am God's people, I have the truth. But actually you're just...
We cannot be past that.
Brother Philip, what does the temple of the Lord mean?
Yeah, that's the same. That we cannot be, because we are the people of God. Who else does God have besides from us? You know, it doesn't matter how bad we are. He still has to work with us. You know, he won't. So there's no remnant, basically.
Okay.
And maybe I was thinking when they say this, we stand in the light, we have the truth. They are, by these words, they are proving that they are in Laodicean condition, because Laodiceans think that they're rich when they're actually blind.
Can these be Laodiceans?
Well, if you make an application, they can be.
And if we don't?
Well, they are from Sardis, I think.
Sardis?
Yeah.
Same problem.
It's the same problem.
Brother Tyler?
Isn't this only a half lie? Because they are standing in the light. They just don't have the truth.
They're standing in the light, they just don't have the truth.
They are technically, wasn't that the last picture you drew a minute ago? That the light's coming down on all the companies.
But they rejected.
Yeah, but they can't see that.
Yeah.
I'm not, yeah, that's, that's besides the point. That's the second part.
Physically.
But they are in the light.
Okay, Sister Rachel's going to say something against it. Oh, Sister Christy.
I was just thinking, are they? I mean, they're in a counterfeit light, but counterfeit is not in here. But they're counterfeiting their message.
Yep, there's a counterfeit. They're not. So, Brother Tyler's saying they're in the light. What are you saying, Sister Rachel?
Right after where it talks about
Show me where we are here.
the top, the second.
Turn it round and point it. Second paragraph around here,
Yeah.
around the top of the paragraph. We're going to read something, and it's going to say, "The light passed away from them, and they were left in darkness."
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah. So we did go through it carefully before, but because we're only going, so they're not in darkness. Is that what you're going to say, Sister Brittany? Yeah. So they're not actually in the light. So they're full on liars. And what else have they done? The last part of the paragraph. Paragraph 2. We're back here. What have they done? She's like, I asked who they were, he told me who they were, and what have they done?
Fasten the cords.
So they fastened the cords, but in the very last part of the paragraph it says, sorry, Sister Brittany?
They don't want everybody else to receive it.
They don't want everyone else to receive it. They reject it themselves. They reject the light themselves, which means they're in total darkness, and they don't want anyone else to receive it. So we picked up a number of key points here in this history. Oh, by the way, where is this? What did we say this was? This waymark here.
42?
1840.
Oh, 1840.
That was 40 here.
Yeah.
This one. The thrusting, the separation.
42.
May of 18 or June.
Okay, so what do we call that type? That
Enemies?
the work of the enemies. So this is the work of the enemies, and in this time period, the people are leaving themselves because they've been pushed and thrust and mistreated. All the companies from the varying denominations are all tying these cords back together, making sure they don't lose any people. They rejected the message themselves, and they don't want anyone else to receive it. So we did all of that. Next paragraph. What happens next? The disappointment. Where do you see a disappointment?
The cloud comes over them, and I was shown that it was their disappointment.
Soon a cloud passed over them and their faces were sorrowful. Second sentence, I asked the cause of this cloud and I was shown that it was their disappointment. So this is the disappointment. And what waymark is this? So I put disappointment, Brother Gregory.
You mean like the date, 18th, 19th of April?
This is April 19th. We'll go with angels.
Oh, second angel. Yep.
Okay.
I wrote.
So I won't put a second angel. I'll just put April the 19th because we haven't seen an angel yet.
Fair enough.
But it's you're right. It's a second angel. And what's caused this disappointment? What's caused the problem? They're expecting Christ to come. It says the time when they expected their Saviour had passed and Jesus hadn't come. And there's this discouragement that settles upon them. So we've got the disappointment because Christ was about to come. So this was supposed to be the second advent. And what else is happening now? It's just a mocking.
They started rejecting the ones who had the light, or who had left.
So the last part of that paragraph says that there's a mocking. It's next paragraph. So this is 241 paragraph 2. Then what happens? So now this is what Brother Gregory said. Now we've come to the arrival of the second angel. So then I heard a voice of another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. So this is what Sister Rachel had said. Here's the voice. And the next sentence says, a light shone upon those desponding ones. So there's a voice and a light. And I'm saying there's a chiasm right there that you can see. Light, voice, voice, light. So here's these people, the same group running all the way through. There's no apostasy. There's no people leaving. You don't see any of that. The good people run all the way through. Here you see I've put a doubling, but the numbers increase. When you join and you get this light, it remains all the way through. So this story, this chapter doesn't teach you about two groups or two virgins, good ones and bad ones. You're going to get that if you read the next chapter. You'll see it in the next chapter. Another illustration. She's going to tackle the same history in a very similar fashion, but she's going to show you these two classes of light people. You'll see that in the next chapter, but you don't see it in this one. So there's a voice and light, and now what's going to happen? The light shines upon these people, and then what do? They look up and their eyes are again fixed upon Jesus. So now they can see Jesus again. Then what happens?
Did we say that they were united with that voice? The people?
No, we haven't got there yet.
I thought that was before, so that's with the light of the
That was this one here. That was when they were in harmony. All we're seeing now is that the angels come down. This is 241 paragraph 2. Heard a voice of another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. A light shines upon these despondent ones. And now what's happening?
Angels conversing with the one.
Brother Bob?
Well, it starts out with the the second angel just saying Babylon has fallen, and then as Larry saying that then he's then consulting with other angels.
Okay.
We see that they all start singing a different message.
Now other angels come on the scene. I saw a number of angels conversing, speaking with the one who cried, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. And these united with him in the cry, behold the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. So first you've got this angel, the second angel, then you've got these other angels. And Ellen White's consistent on this. She talks about it in this chapter. She'll talk about it later in early writing. She'll talk about it in the Great Controversy. Over and over again, she'll make this distinction between the angel and these other angels that join. In this one, here, when the people come in harmony, it's with that same angel, this one here. So it's a singular angel all the way through this one. But when you get to this history, you have the second angel, and this is not the second angel. I want us to see that. The way we normally teach it, we just say it's the empowerment of the second. But she's really clear about this, and it's not that we don't know, it's just that the way we phrase it, sometimes I think we don't give a full picture of that this is separate angels, it's a separate message. So this one says, Babylon is fallen, and this one is, behold the bridegroom cometh. Now by the time you get to this stage here, this angel has changed his tune, he's saying something different, and now these angels are doing what? What condition are they in? They're not in harmony.
Unity.
They're in unity. So I'll read that to us. It says, these united with him in the cry. So there's this unity. And then it says, the musical voices of the angels reached everywhere. So where are we seeing this everywhere? We'd normally go to August, wouldn't we? August 1844. It's now spreading everywhere. Then an exceeding bright and glorious light shone around those who had cherished the light which had been imparted to them. So what light has been imparted to these people? No. Which light had been imparted to them? Had been, past tense.
The second angel's message.
Babylon's fallen.
Babylon is fallen, second angel, Sister Brittany.
And that's amazing too.
Okay, so it's this light here that's now going to be imparted to these people. So here we've got a singular angel, we've got multiple angels, and these are all in unity. These people had light, and now they're going to come into this story, and it says those who had received the light, what happens to them? They receive an exceeding glorious light. So they have another light on top of the one they already had. Their faces shine, and what do? And they united with the angels in the cry, behold the bridegroom cometh. So they're going to unite as well. And then the next sentence says, as they harmoniously raise the cry among the different companies. So there's unity and there's harmony. And what cry are they going to give? Why are they not saying Babylon is fallen?
Because that's not the unity of the angels, what they were saying.
Okay, so the angels are not saying it, but why switch now? I'll read the next sentence. As they harmoniously raised a cry among the different companies. Why are they not saying Babylon is fallen, Brother Tyler?
Because it's not for people who are in Babylon. They're talking to people who have already left. Maybe that's not true, but...
Okay, remember, here, the people who've got light are all the way through. They're separated from the companies. The companies are all tied up together. So, Do you agree you've got companies here? Okay, so let's draw the companies. What do the companies look like compared to before? Obviously there's less of them. What do they look like that's different? Sorry?
Angry?
They're angry? What do they look like over here?
Some light,
And what do they look like over here?
total darkness.
They're mixed.
They don't know they're in Babylon. Maybe I jumped to the other side. Oh wait, no,
How do you work this one out?
Those who receive the light, they're not anymore evil.
Sorry?
Those who receive the light, I agree with that. Those who receive the light, they are not more anymore. They are not bound together with the different companies anymore.
Okay, so why are they saying to the people in the companies, behold the bridegroom cometh?
But Jesus is gonna come October 22nd.
So like kind of like rubbing it in. We don't like you folks, and he's coming, and tough luck on you.
They are tiding the cords of the saved people.
So you're saying this is a different company?
I don't know.
Brother Philip.
I think we might be overlooking the progressiveness of how the things develop, because you asked before why do they say that before the bridegroom coming? Might actually be that this cry was the one which was designed by God to actually shake the Protestant churches, and as they were coming with this cry to
Companies.
companies, yes, as they were coming with this cry to the companies, one by one people would get out of them, because it says
What's the difference between Babylon is fallen and behold the bridegroom cometh? If I said Babylon is fallen,
judgment.
sorry?
Judgment.
Who is Babylon?
In that context, it's Protestant churches,
There's no Protestant churches in this story.
the companies.
The companies.
Okay,
So this one says, like,
the companies are fallen.
your companies are fallen,
Yeah.
and this one saying,
The bridegroom come,
why are you saying that? You just said a minute ago.
because it's been designed by God to have this effect to shake the companies and
And
make the separation between the wheat and the tares from the companies.
so it's redemptive,
What does redemptive? I'm not sure. Like,
positive.
yeah, I can look at it both ways.
Is this positive or negative?
Yeah, it's more negative.
That's negative.
Yeah.
Because it's just saying,
Yeah.
let's
the
kick
other-
you out.
Yeah, the other is positive.
This is positive.
Yeah,
So there's a negative message and a positive message. And the only one these people are going to say is the positive message. They're not going to say negative one. Because they're saying, behold the bridegroom cometh.
yeah.
Okay, so we're going to stop there. Next week, we're not going to revise the line. We've done it for 3 weeks now. So hopefully, we've got the sequence of events. And we've just picked up on the things that look different to normal. They're the ones I wanted to highlight. The darkness. You've got to have the light before if you want to be part of this group. Everyone has an opportunity. The first angel is a singular angel, and then you join the angel. By the time you get to the second, it's the second and other angels. It's 2 separate independent messages, not connected. And we normally call this the empowerment. And then once these angels join, this one changes his voice to this one. So by the time you come here, there is no Babylon is fallen message anyway. No angel is saying Babylon is fallen by the time you get to here. And we haven't even reached the end of the chapter yet. So there is no Babylon is fallen message. Just want us to see that. The only message is this redemptive or positive message. And then that's by the time the people get on, and now they're going to speak to the people in the companies. When we have to work that out, that one out, sort that problem out, because it appeared like everyone had left.
Yeah.
If everyone's left, who are you speaking to?
Yeah.
We'll think a little bit more about that next week. Anybody have a prayer request?